Welcome to Guitar for Dummies, Lesson 4. We're going to call this lesson Open Chords. So far we've had about 3 lessons. We had like picking out a guitar, tips of if you were so new to it you couldn't even play, how could you find one and know it was a good guitar. We talked about how to tune that guitar once you got it. And we even showed a little bit about restringing a guitar. Had a little bit of trouble on that one, but hopefully it gave you ideas in case you're someone who had no idea about how to do that. And today, again, calling it open chords. Now, as we move on, there's a lot of different paths you could take. And as I mentioned in my first lesson, I'm not trained. I encourage you to find people like Steve Stein and others that have musical training and things, but hopefully I can help you, and then others can give you even more information. But you could try, as you're starting out now, you could start trying to learn single note songs, But it seems most people are going to start using chords on a guitar. They're going to start liking that big full sound since we're not great musicians, and that just starts to feel good immediately. And that's probably what you're going to start doing, is using chords. And strumming. Today we're not necessarily talking much about the strumming part. Maybe we should address that first, but it's kind of two things, isn't it? You got your left hand and your right hand when you're playing guitar. And we're going to talk today a little bit about the left hand part. And even if we just hit today, mainly just hitting most of the strings, just going across them. I'm just going to kind of be using, I'm not even maybe even going to use a pick today. I might get it out later, or a plectrum, but I'm mainly just going to be kind of going across the strings like that as we do these chords. And so I do want to emphasize, as I've even seen trained professionals, enjoy it. Don't get frustrated, enjoy it. That's half the thing. And so as long as you're growing and enjoying and sticking with it, that's good. And if you can sing, today I'm using the acoustic, probably use it the whole lesson, but if you can sing, I think you're going to enjoy chords, because you'll be able to sing and use the chords, and possibly country style, rock too, but be able to get enjoyment quickly from your guitar. And again, I've mentioned already in earlier lessons, music for dummies, these things are so intertwined. There's so much knowledge, if you've already learned from that, about chords and what we're going to be doing today. What is a chord, and how do you make it? And how do you even pick chords that go good together? That's all in that other material. So go look at it and use these 2 courses together to help you grow faster. And of course, learning the notes. We're not going to focus on that today. I believe even when I started, I didn't really look at the 6th string. I didn't learn what those notes were. I learned these positions. We're going to talk about these chord shapes. Didn't really know. Did not know at that time what a chord was. Just did the shapes. And learning those things help you grow and do more quicker. So learn your notes. We'll start learning what's on what string. We'll learn these chords. Just learn all you can learn and grow. And learn how to pick. That's kind of a bad word, because we pick a guitar, don't we? I mean how to choose chords. We'll learn how to choose chords, and Music for Dummies helps you with that. But let's get going here. And I believe that I can use this. There we go. I'm going to get 2 camera angles going here, and we're going to be talking about these open major chords. There's really major and minor chords, at least. And look there's a C major. Our notes in music from the other course, you can know C, D, E, F, G, A, B, back to C. But when we look at a C, it's important, maybe you've never seen this before, we can see our E, our low bass string. That's up here at the top. And so it's kind of hard to flip that guitar and show you, but we're going to cross those strings, or down those strings, A, D, to this high E, way down here at the bottom. There's your high E. So that's what this is doing. It's going from this low E down to this high E. The beginning other course lessons in here talk about Eddie 8 Dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. Those are our notes, those strings are. But you really don't have to know that. You just memorize these shapes, is what a lot of beginners do. And if you look at this C up here, it's showing us on that A string, it's saying put your third finger, your finger on the third finger on the third fret. You can, it's hard to see there, but there's my third finger on the third fret. It's saying put your second finger on the second fret of what would be the D string there. And then it's saying put your first finger on what would be the B string down there. Now that particular diagram that we have there is showing you to put your pinky, there's my pinky, down here on the bottom string, but you actually don't have to. The C I've used most of the time is just those three fingers there. That's your C major chord. And it turns out three notes mainly in the chord, and this, even holding that finger, that note happens to be in the chord too. It sounds a little different. So already you're learning something. These chords we learn, they're not the only way to play them. And that's one of the big things about guitar. It's learning that there's these chords all over the guitar with slightly different sounds. And then when you're playing, using your knowledge, you keep growing and growing in to switch it up more and more and make different sounds as you play. So there's the C chord, which you'll want to memorize. And I would tell you mainly focus on the three fingers there. Forget the pinky. Now notice there's the X, which they're basically saying don't even bother with the top string. Truth is that's an E. It's in the chord, and I think the reason they're doing that is this three here. That's your C, and by not using the top string, you're actually getting that C chord, that one you're hitting there, that's being held by that on the fifth string. That's your C, so it kind of gives that C sound to your C chord and kind of drives it home. I believe that's why they're telling you don't even bother with the top string. Start off with your nice solid bass C sound on that. Let's move on. Let's go D. And notice here it's saying don't bother with your two top strings. Here it's that open circle, we didn't mention that. That means no finger on it, just play it with nothing. And that happens to be your D string. So when we hold it here, we hit that, we're going to have a nice D sound right off the bat. But notice there, it's saying to put the one finger on the second fret of the G string, the third string up. It's saying put your third finger on the the third fret of the second string. That's kind of weird. And then it's saying your second finger. Yep, that's my second one. The middle, I guess it is. And it's on the second fret. That's a little odd maybe at first. That might be one that gives your fingers and brain a little trick at first, but you'll get used to just hammering down. Seems habit to me that the middle finger hitting the bottom string first and then my ring in the top is kind of the easiest way to come into that. But that's the D. And hitting that D string that they're mentioning first on that. So my D chord's starting out with that low D sound. Moving on, there's an E, and it's telling you, let's think, there's certainly different ways to do an E chord. I'm doing, let's see here, they're telling you second finger and third finger, and then first finger down here. See the first finger down on the G string, on the first fret of the G string. That would be what, a G sharp, right? And then it's saying basically either one of those two fingers, either way, you're holding on the second fret, both the fourth and fifth string. See over here? And so either way you can use your fingers. Hold those three strings down. And notice on this one they're saying go ahead and hammer that low E string, because it's an E and you're playing an E chord and you're going to get a nice deep sound. So there, holding those three strings and hitting that, get that nice deep sound. There's a way you can play that with your pinkies and middle finger, but we'll hold off on mentioning that till bar chords. But you might find as time goes on that you switch the way you play these because it helps you use other things. But this is how most people seem to start, is that typical, those three fingers holding E. And F can be a tough one here. And I know I cheated beginning that I would use the, let's see it's going to be totally different than how that's drawn. I would use like my 3, my 2, and my 1, just smooshing that first fret there. I'm just using the bottom like 4 strings. And again, notice I'm only using these 2. What's that? The 3rd fret on the 4th string, the 2nd fret on the 3rd or G string, and then smooshing these 2 on the 1st fret is one cheater. You're only playing the bottom 4. Get an F. Maybe not the fullest sound of an F, but it is a version. Now, as you grow and your fingers get better, what they're showing you there, they're actually showing you something like this. They're saying, hey, put your 3rd finger up here, your 4th finger down here, and then this middle finger is on the G string. And then they're saying use that big finger to go all the way across that one right there. So you're using all 4 fingers, getting the sound like that. And that, to me, seems so hard to do as a beginner. But what you learn is that is actually going to be a bar chord. So if you take the time to practice on that F, I say start trying to get that. You can cheat at first, but the quicker you can get that bar chord down, get a good sound out of that, it's going to make you grow where you can use that shape anywhere. Notice in my big picture there, you see I'm moving up the neck and hitting that. That's what we called in our music lesson a movable shape or chord. So, but there's your F, and if you're doing that, notice when I'm truly doing that, well, I'm getting that low bass up here on that top string of an F. My E string, 1st fret, that's an F. So I'm getting that nice deep F sound there if I actually get that bar all the way. So there's your F. And something I wanted to mention too is when we fret these, here's the body of the guitar. You want to be on the fret. You want to hold your finger closer to the side of the fret towards this thing. If you're perfectly in the middle of the fret, you might get not as you got a fret buzz. If I'm down closer to that, I get a nice better sound. It's easier finger. I don't have to push as hard, and it holds that string tighter against that fret. So as you position all your fingers, yet another trick. Notice I'm sliding them up towards that fret. See that in that close-up picture there? I'm kind of, where am I at here? There I am. I'm kind of, instead of being way up here, I'm trying to get down close to that, closer towards the center, and that way I get a. So that's yet another trick of dexterity, isn't it? Notice even on my C, I'm trying to be back down towards those frets instead of way up away from them. Here, see, as soon as I move up, I'm getting a buzz. So if you're getting that, try to make sure you're getting close to or almost on the fret itself there. So there's the F. Let's go here. This is a G. And notice this particular one is using a fingering, I believe, different. Am I right? It's different than I would use. I'm using, what am I using? I'm using my ring finger, my 3rd finger down here, my 2nd finger up here, and then my 1st finger here is the way I learned it. Now they're doing, look what they're doing. They're doing their 4th finger, their 3rd finger, and their 2nd finger. And I think there could be good reasons for doing that. Figure out what works best for you, but as you grow, if you do that, you might use that 1st finger to do some other bluegrassy things, I believe, might be why that guy chose that fingering. But one way or the other, whether it's 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, or fourth, third, and second, you want to hold, that bottom string on the third, the top string on the third fret, and then the A string up towards the top on the second fret. And there's your G. Let's look just a couple more here. There's your A. That one's kind of neat because you can just kind of smoosh in that second fret. Notice how they're doing all these three smooshed. This is your A string. Notice it's open, and even the bottom E's open. So note we're going to hit that A on the fifth string, get a nice A sound, and they're saying how to use second, third, and fourth. Some people even cheat and just use their finger itself, smooshing those three, and maybe even moosh I'm not really getting much out of that top E. You can A that way, but using those fingers like they mentioned, matter of fact, they got three fingers on A. I usually do it with just my ring in my middle. I'm kind of smooshing those two. It's almost like I've got my middle finger on the D string, and it's almost like I'm hitting the next two, holding pretty much both of them with that finger. But however you can hold those three strings on that second fret, there's your A. And then here is our B. And this is an interesting one too. The way this guy's showing it, he's got another bar looking thing here, doesn't he? And notice we're seeing something different, how he's showing you second fret there. See that? First fret, first fret, first fret, first fret. Here he's at least showing you that here's our first fret, but that was third fret. Here was a first fret. Here he's saying second fret. Notice they're not even showing the first fret here. You'll see this in these chord diagrams too. So we're going to be barring across the second fret, and he's got us mushing, if you will, mushing, and he's telling you again to use 2, 3, and 4 over here on this. See if I can't get my pointer. Can I get my? It kind of hides behind that, doesn't it? So here's my finger on the second one, kind of barring it. Here's that one kind of mushing. If you look at that third finger, I'm kind of mushing those three. Now you could try to do what he's saying and then get all three of them wedged in there if you got little enough fingers, but you can actually get a pretty good sound by just mushing with that ring finger. And so here's what we would be getting there with that B. Let's see, he is, I believe, saying go ahead and play the top strings. Well, it looks like he's trying. Well, yeah, because he's got us B. Now we wouldn't really want to play that top string, I don't believe. So we'll just we'll skip the top string because don't believe that note would be in your B chord, really. So we're barring, we're mushing on that, the fourth fret, barring on the second fret, and getting that B sound. That is not the best introduction to chords, but there they are. And the fun part is when you start using them together. Like, let's just do a CFG here. Like, let's say I do CFG. We actually start strumming a little. That's a C. And I actually do go F. I'm going to use my little cheater. I'll go back to that C. And then to my G. F. Back to C. So that was a pretty poor beginning. It's just so much to take in, but you'll want to look on the internet. You'll want to get your chord diagrams. I've got a thing I hang on the wall here somewhere. I had my kids might have bought it for me, but I used to have books that I bought, and you'll want to look at these and just figure out how to make these chords. And those were majors, and then we'll focus on minors at some point too. But again, look at the music class material I have, Music for Dummies, and see how these chords relate. And it helps you understand why you're putting your fingers where you are, why you're using the notes you're using, and things of that nature. But have fun, get to strum a little, and learn how to get those chords. You want to practice. You'll learn. Some people talk about putting your fingers, pulling them off, try to get them back on, and when you first start, The tough part is your fingers are like, I can't get there. You want to just keep practicing till you can switch between those chord shapes pretty quickly. And then that's your growing. So wish we weren't out of time, but we are already. So let's pack it up for today, and we'll continue in another lesson.